Welcome into Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I'm Meghan Payton, guys. It's Overreaction Tuesday and Victory Tuesday for the Steelers, but we have a favor to ask of you guys. We are on the road to 6,000 subscribers. You guys helped us get to 5,000. Now we're on the road to 6. These videos are free. They're going to stay free. So click that big red button or go to youtube.com/Steelers TV. You're going to stay updated all season long on news, rumors, all of the above. We're talking overreactions today, and I told you guys on our recap show that this was going to be an interesting one because this game, yes, resulted in a win. Steelers win 29-27 against the Bears in Monday Night Football, but man, was this game sloppy. This game, honestly, was, I think the Steelers have had better games where they've lost than this game. There was a lot of mistakes, a lot of just, kind of stupid things that you can't have happen. I'm surprised. The Steelers are very lucky that they won this game, in my opinion. But, hey, a win is a win. And now it's time for us to overreact to some of the things that happened. But before we give you our overreactions, we've got some injury updates to talk about. Chase Claypool, we mentioned him during our recap video. He is getting an MRI on his toe. So apparently something happened there in last night's game. Mike Tomlin said he's going to have obviously a larger update for us as the week goes on, but definitely a guy you do not want to miss time. Juju out for the season. Deontay Johnson, your other receiver, you can't afford to lose Claypool right now. And a couple other injuries going on for Steelers. Robert Spillane, he's dealing with an ankle injury. These are all coming after last night's game. Cameron Heyward, who had a good game, ankle injury as well. Isaiah Buggs, hip. Now, we don't know how severe these are. I mean, they could easily be back at practice tomorrow, but these are the guys that head coach Mike Tomlin touched on, as well as Titan Eric Ebron. Some good news. He could return to practice this week. Yeah, I don't know how much the Steelers are actually going to utilize him, even if he's activated. In my opinion, I could see the Steelers actually using him as a healthy scratch. That's a video for another time. But right now, I want to ask you guys, how are we feeling? How are we feeling after this Steelers win? There's a lot to go over, so I just want your initial thoughts. Get them in the comments right now. This is our pinned comment. Let's see how many replies we get. Tell me how you feel. Get your emotions in the comments. Now it's time to get into our overreactions. I said this, it was a sloppy game, and really the storyline of today is not that the Steelers won. The storyline was there was a BS taunting call, and we didn't really talk about it yesterday, so I think it's only fair that we bring it up. Now, I know there's going to be different opinions on this and whether or not, the NFL should kind of be calling these types of things, but I think that, okay, in my opinion, I hate the taunting calls. That's just how I feel. So, yes, obviously it benefited the Steelers, but to me, I don't want the Steelers to win that way. I mean, I'm happy that they won, but at the same time, this makes the NFL not fun to me. And I understand, Mike Tomlin actually said today he agrees with the taunting calls. He's actually on the committee, so it makes sense that he, is kind of for this. But if you missed it, last night, Cassius Marsh, who actually was on the Steelers practice squad during the offseason, he got cut right before the season started. Now he's on the Bears. He was elevated from their practice squad for last night's game. He has really an amazing sack on Big Ben. Steelers were 3rd and 8, I believe, on that drive. And that sack, they lost 7 yards on that. And now, then he gets called for a taunting. And to be honest, if you watch the game, it really didn't look like taunting, in my opinion. He's just kind of standing over, looking at the sideline. Now, is there a little bit of anger there? I'm sure. Steelers cut him. I'm sure there's some emotions there. But I do have to agree with what the Bears fans are saying. I don't like this call. Now, it obviously benefited the Steelers, but referee Tony Correnta, he talked about this taunting call, saying that first of all, you got to keep in mind that taunting is a point of emphasis this year. And with that said, I saw the player, after he made a big play, run toward the bench area of the Pittsburgh Steelers and posture in such a way that I felt he was taunting them. Now, guys, if you also watched this game, you saw that referee kind of hip-checked Cassius Marsh. So there's a little bit of, I think, some iffy things going on right there. I don't know if it was fair. Now, I like it. Help the Steelers, but ultimately don't want to win that way. What are your guys' thoughts, though? Do you think that this taunting call was fair, or do you think it was BS? Let's get your votes in the comments right now. If you think it was fair, you can go in and type fair. If not, you can type BS. But we're going to move on to some actual Steelers overreactions, which is Pat Freiermuth will be a top 5 tight end. And I think that he could absolutely get there. I've said this before. I love watching Pat Freiermuth. He's so strong, athletic. He's a fun guy to watch. He's just, I think, improving week by week. Rookie tight end. So far, I mean, in this Bears game, he had 6 targets, 5 receptions, 43 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then so far in 2021, he's had 4 touchdowns, 33 targets, 27 receptions, 245 yards. So, okay, obviously he's right now not a top 5 tight end, but I think as a rookie, he can absolutely get there. I think that this guy is going to change the Steelers offense. I've said that before. We are only going to see more and more from him. So watch out. I'd say in the next year, I could see Pat Freiermuth as a top 5 tight end in the league. Now, guys, something else that is top 5 things you should be doing with your life is BetUS. They are the sports book that we love and trust here at Chat Sports. If you feel like, hey, maybe betting on the Steelers, we're going to tell you about their odds in a second, but right now BetUS has a 125% deposit bonus that you will get if you go to chatsports.com/bet. You've got to use promo code Steelers125, and if you do this, you are going to turn $100 into $225. So on. If you bet more, you get more money back. And maybe right now the Steelers are someone you'd like to bet on, because we look at the Week 10 odds as they take on the Detroit Lions. Steelers are favorites at -9.5. The over-under right now is set at 43. Now, these might shift a bit as the week goes on, but get it in now while the Steelers are that strong of a favorite. Maybe you think that they'll be able to crush the Lions and, cover the spread. I don't know what you guys think. Either way, it doesn't have to be on the Steelers, but make sure you go check out this deal from BetUS. This will not last long, so go do it now and make sure you use code Steelers125. Next up on our overreactions for today, something we probably don't want to talk about, but we have to. Is it time to replace Ray-Ray McCloud? If you missed it, Ray-Ray McCloud had a really bad fumble during a punt return that allowed the Bears to score a touchdown and honestly almost sealed the game for Chicago. So thank God for Chris Boswell, who really saved the game for Pittsburgh, but this was a bad mistake. And Ray-Ray McCloud has already fumbled 3 times this season, and in his 4-year career, he has fumbled 10 times. Now, we don't see him much used as a receiver. We are really only seeing him on special teams. Yes, he came in, I think, for 1 reception, actually after he fumbled last night. But these are things that can't happen. You cannot have this happen, especially in close games like this. Mike Tomlin said it too, though. He said this is absolutely unacceptable. Now, he did say that they're going to stick with him as their punt returner. So I don't know, though, how much wiggle room Ray-Ray McCloud has. I think any more mistakes and he is going to be cut. Maybe he's cut or maybe he's just replaced, but I don't think you can have this happen, and he is not a rookie, so he should not be doing things like this. My opinion is, hey, we don't have to replace him right now, but he's right there. He's getting close. So I want to ask you, do you think that the Steelers should replace Ray-Ray McCloud? If you think so, type Y for yes, and if not, type N for no. Last overreaction we have for today, and this was always a fun one, is the Steelers will win the AFC North. Now, still early, but ultimately the Steelers need to clean some stuff up because, yes, the Steelers are improving. Yes, they are definitely in the mix right now. We're going to talk about where the AFC North standings are, but the Steelers have to clean up their issues. That falls on the offense, that falls on the defense, and it definitely falls on the special teams because they are in a competitive AFC North. Right now, Ravens at 6-2. They are at the number 1 spot. Steelers, though, at number 2, and that's really just because they had their bye, so they've only lost 3 games. Browns and Bengals, they sit at 5-4. So we are all very competitive. There is not one team that has a strong lead or a big disadvantage. All 4 of these teams are playoff contenders, and you've got to act like it. So I do not think that the Steelers stand out in a negative way or a positive way. So that's good news, but that's also bad news because you've got to stay competitive. And by the way, we are very competitive here at Chat Sports. And when we talk about the Browns, we are not big fans over here. And the Browns report at Chat Sports, they are catching up to us, guys, here. Steelers report is still number 1 in the AFC North, but the Browns might catch up to us. So if you hate the Browns, please subscribe to this channel. I do not want to take the heat from our Browns fans over here at Chat Sports. Go to youtube.com/Steelers TV or just press that big red button. Now, I think the Steelers need to win 4 of the next 5 games. Now, I know that's kind of, overgeneralizing it maybe, but this is important. And like I said, very competitive division. And you look at these games, couple divisional games in here. Now, the Lions, obviously, we'd like to think that's a gimme, but it is the NFL. We've seen crazier upsets. Mike Tomlin even said in his press conference today, he is not going in with the mindset of, hey, this is a winless team. Now I have, an easier chance. You've got to prepare every team differently, but you also have to know it's the NFL. Anyone can win any given Sunday. Chargers is going to be a difficult game. Bengals, as we know, divisional game. Ravens, back-to-back divisional games. That's going to be difficult. And the Vikings, they're hit or miss. So I think that the Steelers need to win at least 4 of these because we look at playoff picture and we see, all right, Steelers right now would get that 6th seed. They would be wild card team. Ravens would win the division if the playoffs were today. But everyone is very close. So easily the Steelers could lose this wild card spot, but very easily they could claim a division leading spot. So lots to happen here, guys. I really think that the Steelers have to clean up some of their issues, and I think that we are going to see more of this. And by the way, there's a lot of stuff going on with Steelers. There's a lot of things going on with the league. OBJ, if you haven't heard, we will find out more about where he's going, and as far as more free agency, as the week goes on, make sure you are subscribed.